Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be talking about how I use Notion as a weekly planner. So what I do is every Saturday in the morning, I'll go ahead and fill out this planner template that I've created on Notion, which I'll show to you guys, and I'll show you how I use it and what it contains and things. And I actually had an idea. I can even duplicate my template so that you guys can copy it for your own Notion setup. But the reason why I think it's so important is because it gives you an overview of the upcoming week so that you feel a bit more prepared about the week coming ahead. So it's just a way to stay a bit more organized. So if you're into that, then keep watching this video. I'll show you my entire weekly review process. So essentially, this is basically what my Notion looks like. And I've got a page called Planner. Now, you'll see this widget straight away, which I'll talk about in a minute. But essentially, the first thing I want to say is that I keep the planner page on my sidebar so that I have access to it immediately. That way, when you're sitting down to do your weekly review, it reduces that friction because you've already got that tab there and it's easy to access. Now, when you open your planner, you'll see this large widget here, which basically shows you two bars, and it shows you how far we are throughout the year and how far we are through, my life. A year is obviously self-explanatory. It's, coming up to November, end of November now, so I've only got this much of the year left. And by giving myself a graphical representative of how much time I have left in the year, it will help me think about, okay, what were my New Year's resolutions? Am I still on track with those? Because most people will create New Year's resolutions, and by January, February, March, it's gone. Whereas I've made a video on how to set goals and actually keep them throughout the year and how to stay up to date with it. And so this, graphic representation of how far you are into the year gives you a quick snapshot for you to think, okay, how am I getting along with those goals? And it isn't that much effort. You literally look at it for 2 seconds and think, okay, right, I'm halfway through the year. I should be halfway through my goals for the year. And here I'm nearly at the end of my year. So technically I should be near the end of I should basically be reaching my goals that I set for myself. And this bottom bar shows you how far you are through your life. Now, I don't know how it calculates it because I could literally die in a car accident today and this bar would be very wrong. But I think it assumes that you're going to live till 80, or maybe you have to put an age in it. But anyway, giving yourself a graphical representation of this is slightly a little bit morbid. I mean, I don't look at it much, but it basically reminds you of the fact that life is short. Don't take it seriously, make the most of it, have fun, enjoy all of that jazz in a quick little snapshot. Because on one hand, I can think, oh, I'm getting old. But on the other hand, I look at all the space left and think, right, I'm still young. So, it's a bit of a positive message when I'm feeling a bit old and, unfit and things. So let's talk about the main part of the weekly planner itself. And you'll see this gallery view titled 2021. And you'll see it's got little pages with numbers. You might be thinking, what is this? But essentially, it's a page for the week number of the year. So week 46 is the week that we are currently on right now, and I've created a page reviewing my, the upcoming week for that, in that page. And so every Saturday, what I'll do in the morning is I'll go ahead and create a new page. And as you can see, I've already got templates. So the first thing I'll do is actually click on the template so that all my questions are preloaded. And all I have to do is fill out that template. So that makes it very easy for me to do my weekly review. So the first thing I want to do is write the title of the week number. Now, if you're unsure about how to find this out, I recommend you go on your calendar. And as you can see at the top here, it will tell you what week we're on. Now, I'm not actually showing the current month that we're on right now because I've got calendar events that, I don't want to make public. But as you can see, in March 2022, this is week 12. Now, if you don't have this week number, and obviously I assume that you're using calendar on Mac for this, so if you're using Windows and anything, feel free to skip this bit about how to get your week numbers. But if you want to get this enabled and you've got a Mac and you're using Calendar app, you basically just go over to your calendar preferences. And if you go over to where it says Advanced on the Advanced tab, you'll see this little check mark saying Show Week Numbers. So I've got that enabled. So obviously if you disable that, your week number just goes away. So if you don't have that checked, make sure you check that so that you see what week we're on right now. So, okay, so once we've worked out, okay, we're on week 12, obviously we're not, but for example, then I'll go back into my Notion and write that week number as the title. And then I'll just go through the template. So the first thing I'll do is fill out my weight. Now, the reason why I'm tracking my weight is because I've got fitness goals. Sometimes I'm trying to lose weight, sometimes I'm trying to gain weight. And so I'll firstly write down my weight here, but what I'll also do is I've got a spreadsheet where I'll put my weight and I've got a graph showing me my weight over time. So that way I've got an easy graphical representation of what my weight is doing over time, and that'll help me evaluate whether I'm on progress or behind progress and help me think about making changes accordingly. So moving on, next here you'll see some green blocks. Essentially these are areas of my life which I want to kind of review weekly. So if you don't have these already, think about it, write down just, freehand, what are the main important areas in your life that are important to you. So it might be, because I'm in uni right now, I've obviously got medicine, which are my studies right now, which are important. If you're working, then, your career building might be important to you. Your health might be important to you. So I've got, physical health. What am I doing for my physical health and my mental health? You might have other hobbies, sport activities, socials. Basically, jot down what's important in your life that you want to review on a weekly basis. And that's basically what each green block is here. Now, you see that as I hover through the block, it's coming up with this red outline, and that shows that it's a synced block. Now, if you're not familiar with what a synced block is, essentially I'll show you right now. So let's say, for example, for you, your weekly item that you want to review is career building. So I'll write that in here, and obviously what I've done is I've created it into a green background color. You can do that if you want, you don't have to, it's up to you. But essentially inside the block, what I'll have is important things that I want to make sure I'm on track of. So for example, if there's, a supervisor that I have to meet, so I'll say, okay, supervisor meeting, and let's say I'm meeting with them weekly. Now, I wanted to show you what a synced block is. Basically, if you copy this, right click and click on copy link, you can then paste this anywhere, and when you paste the link, it will come up with a paste and sync option. So if you select paste and sync, essentially it gives you the ability to have that block in multiple places, so that when you change a block in one place, it will automatically update wherever else that block is. And the reason why I use that on a weekly review template is for things that I want to keep a track on every single week. Because if I go ahead next week and create a new template, all of these middle bits will be blank. So I fill out, something for that particular week. However, I also want to see the bigger picture and have stuff from the previous week or from previous reviews on this week that I want to see, if that makes sense. So for example, if my supervisor meeting was weekly and I said, okay, went okay, but said do more work or something, I can write that this week, and next week when I create a blank template, this will still be there, and then I can update it with things from this week, if that makes sense. So that's why I have the synced block here. And obviously inside the synced block, I'm not going to show you guys inside the synced block because it contains personal information, but I'll basically have little stuff like this that I want to keep track of over the week. So what I'll do during my weekly review is I'll open up the synced block, I'll see my progress so far, and then I'll write a little comment for that particular week. So I'll say, okay, let's say for physical health, let's say my weight went up. And then I'll just write a little journal entry here. Obviously I'm not going to bore you to death about what I actually write, but I'll think about, okay, well, why this happened, or if I'm on progress, then I'll say, okay, good, I met all my, I went to the gym this many times a week, so that was good. I did binge eat a little bit, so that was bad, maybe don't do that next week, so on and so forth. So I'll just write a bit about that area of my life in this white little space, and I'll just keep doing that until I've filled out all the areas of my life. So, and then the third thing I'll do is I'll have a look at my upcoming week's calendar. So I'll look at my timetable, I'll time block it into my calendar, and then what I've started doing now is I'll actually schedule in when I need to go to the gym. So to do that, it's very simple. Let's say I want to go on Monday, I'll just schedule it, go to the gym. And what I'll do is, let's say if I want to go to the gym 3 times a week, I'll say, okay, Monday I can go, Wednesday it looks like I've got an event, so Wednesday morning maybe will be a bit tight. So in fact, let me actually move this to Tuesday, and go on Thursday and Saturday instead. Right, so what I'll do is I'll look at my current events on my calendar and I'll base my gym schedule around whenever I can or cannot go. One day if I've got, an 8 a.m. start, I'm not going to go gym in the morning, so I'll schedule it for later in the afternoon. So that's why looking at your weekly calendar and your commitments for that week and then scheduling gym after seeing your commitments is a good way of doing things. Next you'll see it says pick a focus or something to implement, which right at the bottom. So what that means is I'll go down here, so let me just delete this career building that I showed for example. Here it says what is one thing I could implement and what are the action points for next week. Now before I just used to say, okay, what do I need to do next week, and just write down loads of things from each of the above areas, and I'll never review it and I'll never remember it. Now I've changed it to what is just one thing that I could do next week. So let's say, I was really slacking on behind my uni work that week. So I'll say my one thing this week, and I'll have to try and make it specific so that I actually remember it and I actually do it. So let's say my one thing this week is to answer 10 questions a day from question bank, from, a medicine question bank. And that's very specific, that's very doable, that's easy to look back and tell myself, have I done this or have I not? If I just write, okay, study more, that's very vague. Like I'm going to be studying anyway. What does study more mean, If I just write it and make it this vague, I'll never be satisfied with the amount of work that I did, because I always think, okay, I could have done this, could have done this, could have done that. So by making it specific, it allows you to track exactly what you need to do that week. And by keeping it to one thing, it makes sure that there's not that big of a hurdle to actually do that thing. Next, I've got a little section on personal finance. Now, the reason why I think this is important for me is because my money, I don't know where it goes. So I'm pretty sure that, some people, if not many people, are in a similar boat to me, whereby not that much on top of your finances and you don't really know where your money goes and you're spending a lot and you want to try and reduce how much you're spending on unnecessary expenses. Obviously, I'm not saying don't spend, but obviously on unnecessary expenses where you could have saved money. So by putting this in my weekly review, it reminds me this is something I have to be mindful of throughout the week. So I've got two sections here: to review my bank account transactions and to review my Monzo bank account transactions as well. Now, the reason why I have two different bank accounts is because one is kind of like my checking account where the money comes in, and the other one I use it for shopping and groceries and things. If you want me to make a video on how I think about cash flow and my different bank accounts and things like that, I think that'll be a pretty interesting video. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in that. But basically, you'll see this hyperlink. Essentially, if I click on that link, it takes me straight to the login page of my bank. That way it minimizes friction, because obviously thinking about budgeting and managing finances and everything is long. I'm not gonna lie. This is why I personally think I'm so bad at managing finances. But by creating that link there and by putting it on my weekly review template, one, it's always on my mind. Secondly, it's so easy to just click on there, log in, check what I've spent, and if I see something that I've spent which I probably shouldn't have, I spent X amount on this when I could have not done, then that'll be on my mind and that'll kind of get flagged up, as opposed to just never checking and at the end of the month realizing I have no money left. So I think this is a good way of going about your personal finances. Obviously, it's not a whole budget and blah, 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 but it's some way along the step of being more mindful with your personal finances. So that's why I do that, and think it'd be very useful for you to do the same. Next, we've got a reflection section. So this is basically a free-form text that I write over here. Things that went well this week, what did I learn this week, who and what am I grateful for? 3 simple questions that I'll just answer in a journal, prose, free format style way. And that way it gives me a good way of reviewing the week, what went well, all of that things. Now you see here, I sneakily skipped past this affirmations and intent section. Basically, I'm not going to open this toggle because it's just a cringy list of like quotes and positive words and things that I just have a look at and say sometimes. and it's just to basically just get me into a good mood for the upcoming week. You know, I don't know how much affirmations and stuff are actually useful, whether they work or not, but I have that there anyway, just so that I can kind of get ready for the week and feel a bit more upbeat about the week. I don't know, completely up to you. It's irrelevant. I could get rid of it and it wouldn't change my life, I don't think. But that's just what I have there. Finally, I've already gone through the action plan. Remember from earlier, I should have already answered the action plan, make something specific and what to focus on next week. But obviously if I haven't done that yet, then when I get to this number 6, I'll be able to fill that in, so that this is basically a good way of summarizing my weekly review, saying, okay, good that I've done this weekly review, but what am I actually going to do next week? Am I going to make any changes? Otherwise, I'll just be documenting things and not actually doing anything. So this is a good way of actually having an action point for next week that I'm going to focus on. So that's basically my process on how I do my weekly review on Notion. I'm going to create a template that you can duplicate into your own workspace. So if you want that, then check the link in the description below. With that being said, if you're new to my channel, my name's Abhiyan. I'm a final year medical student currently studying in London. If you like this video, then make sure you hit the thumbs up button to let me know. And if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing down below as well. I also write newsletters occasionally. I haven't done so in a long time. I probably should. But if you're interested in checking that out, there's also a link in the description below where you can check out the previous issues that I've written, and if it's something that's your fancy, then you can sign up there as well. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you again in my next video.